Hey guys, welcome to Lowdown. We've got a lot in store for you this episode.
That's right, everyone. Stay tuned because we've got coverage of a music festival in Cincinnati and all of the hottest music right here from Akron.
All of this coming up on this episode of Lowdown.
Welcome back, everyone. My name is Celeste.
And I'm Josh. So, Celeste, Jack and I got to do something pretty cool this past weekend.
I know. Tell us about all the fun you had without me.
Well, don't get too jealous. I'll get you all caught up with a look at two of the coolest bands from Midpoint Music Festival right now. Let's check it out. What's up, guys? I'm Josh Gowdy here at Midpoint Music Fest, and I'm here with Moonbow. They just finished up their set, which they did an awesome job. So, what's it been like? What was that like, going on stage and performing like that?
It was really cool. That was the biggest stage that we've played on so far, so it was kind of like a surreal feeling that there were actually people there.
It was almost a little uncomfortable with how big the stage was. But it was like I feel like I had to move around more to compensate for the space. Yeah. But it worked out, I think.
So how have you guys been enjoying the festival? Have you got to go watch any other bands, or have you guys interacted with any of the other artists yet?
We weren't here yesterday because we played in Columbus with B Miles, actually, who's playing the festival. So that was a lot of fun last night, playing with Mung Bean at Rumba Cafe. So yeah, that was cool.
I caught a little bit of Coastal Club before we played. They're good friends of ours, so it was nice to check them out and see them in their element.
So synth pop and 80s music is a really popular theme right now in the indie music industry. So what unique style or unique take are you guys bringing to it that makes your guys' music stand out from the others?
I think it's our relationship that, like, in my opinion, because we're together. So I think that people enjoy seeing, like, couples, I guess, together and being happy. I don't know, that's a weird answer. But
I feel like 80s pop or 80s music is like kind of a broad term, so it's like there's a lot of different parts of that. It's like there's more 80s pop stuff and there's more like new wave stuff, kind of like New Order and stuff like that. And I kind of like to do a little mixture of a bunch of different kind of 80s stuff. So it's like, I don't know if that makes sense or not. But
So what kind of influences, or who are your influencers for your guys' music?
I listen to a lot of Aha, like Take On Me, and New Order, Echo and the Bunnymen, a bunch of 80s bands, and then I listen to some newer stuff like Bleachers, some of my favorite bands, and St. Lucia, stuff like that.
And what music are you guys currently working on? Anything or planning, like upcoming like tour or something? Where are you guys performing at? Where can people find you?
yeah, so we have our single Are We In Love Yet out right now, and that's our only song that we've put out. But we were giving away download cards with another single on it. We might have a few more left if you catch us at another show, but our album is supposed to come out within the first few months of 2018. So you can look for that. It'll be like our self-titled debut album. So I'm excited for it.
We got a lot of stuff planned out. We have the record, and I always have most of the next record I kind of conceptualized, so I'm kind of like dying to get things going. Yeah.
All right, well, thanks, guys. And that was Moonbow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm here with Current Events. They just got finished performing their set. So how did your guys' set go, guys?
It went great. Sound was awesome. Seemed like the crowd enjoyed it, and the room was great. Awesome.
So you guys are from Cincinnati, correct?
Yeah. We live. All of us live close. 3 of us in one area, and this guy in another.
So what's your guys' story? How did you guys meet or form together?
Me and Kyle were both in bands during high school. Mine kind of fizzled out, and I joined his toward the end, and that eventually ended, but he and I always tried to get something going, and we eventually met Kevin, and then he brought Mike in, and after a few years, we finally got something started.
Has Cincinnati, just as the city, been a part of inspiring your guys' sort of like earnest and down-to-earth emo alternative vibe at all?
Yeah, Cincinnati has an awesome music scene, and it's gone through phases where it's gotten really kind of segregated in genres, whereas the shows go. And it's gotten to the point where we've gotten, this festival, we got Bunbury, where it's getting more a collective version of artists that aren't just one genre playing shows. So it's cool for us to play like, a show with folk bands like one week, and then the very next week we play like a hardcore fest as an indie band, an emo band. It's awesome. But yeah, so there's a lot of really great music, some really good, awesome local bands that are playing here today, like Daniel and Stereo and Coastal Club and Moonbow, and guys that we're friends with that also get to play these festivals. So yeah, Cincinnati's got an awesome scene.
And are you guys performing anywhere in the near future, like around here or in other areas of the state or even country?
Yeah, we're doing next Saturday on the 30th. We're doing a benefit for a regional beard chapter that gets together, and it goes towards raising money for neglected and abused children, things like that. We do a lot of charity events like that, and then we're going to be doing shows with some of our close friends, like a Halloween show coming up, but nothing huge. For right now, we're just setting up recording and getting that album done.
All right, thanks guys, and that was Current Events. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that looked like so much fun. I wish I could have been there.
Yeah, you really did miss out. All the artists we met were so chill and down to earth.
I'll definitely be at the next music fest, but you and Jack weren't the only ones who got to meet new artists. I talked to Love Abstract, an up-and-coming Akron artist, this week. Take a look.
All right, my name is Love Abstract. I'm from Akron, Ohio, and I make music.
Try to kill my high, I'm not trying to fight, just not for tonight. I'm gonna live my life and maybe live it twice, cause I'm feeling tight. Nice. And I wanna go home with this.
Pretty much any type of music that I'm kind of feeling at the moment and everything. As of right now, I'm really focusing on kind of like the pop sound right now. The way that Love Abstract got started was my senior year of college. I had one of my buddies listen to some music that was pretty much a really bad demo of myself, and he said, "Why don't you try to do this seriously?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "No, like actually try." And then the day after that, I rented out a music studio, and Love Abstract is weird. Akron has influenced the majority of my career so far. My producers from here, my first shows were from here. The studio that I rented out is in Akron, so Akron definitely helped my career.
All of this lying, and now I'm just trying not to give up, hoping to make it by and to stay afloat. Yeah, you took my heart and you threw it away, but there was
that was my first collection of music, and it was called Lovely. It was a hip-hop project, and yeah, it was a great project, and it definitely helped my career and kind of pushed me into the right direction.
Yeah, call me time warner, cause I'm the man, and I'm just trying to find a girl that I can settle down with. I'm just trying to find a girl that I can settle down with. I'm just trying to find a girl that I can settle down with.
Yep, I have my new single, Driveway. It's coming out October 18th, and I'm really excited about it. And my new EP is called The Abstract, and that is coming out November 29th. Abstract is going to be 4 songs, and it's kind of a continuation of Lovely, but it's pretty much like pop music instead of the hip-hop realm. Initially, my sound was pretty much straight hip-hop beats. When I first started, I just stole beats off of YouTube and recorded it, so it definitely didn't have kind of the soul, if you will. And then with my first project, Lovely, I was able to actually make the songs, and it definitely came out in a way that's not traditional hip-hop, which I really liked. And then that kind of just morphed into me deciding I wanted to sing for the time being. I don't like labels, No, I don't know. It's definitely more in the pop realm right now, but that's just because how I feel. So I could go back to hip-hop, I could do whatever, so. But I guess like all the blogs are calling me electro R&B, so I guess.
Come along if you want to, but I'm just trying to find a girl that I can settle down with. I'm just trying to find a girl that I can settle down with. I'm just trying to find a girl that I can settle down with. The loves of my past.
Wow, he's really talented. I'll have to check out his new music when it comes out.
Me too, but until then, we have even more musicians here on Lowdown.
That's right. Up next, Eddie was able to interview Sanderwind, an electronic artist here in Akron.
Let's see what he's all about.
My name is Joe Moss. My project name is Sanderwind, and it all started a few years ago when I first discovered electronic music. And I realized that that was the way that I could create the sounds that were in my head more than any single instrument. I've been around music my entire life, and I formally started playing instruments when I was 13, and then I got into production 6 years later. Well, like every 19-year-old kid who wants to start making music, I pirated a copy of Fruity Loops and just started messing with beats and just slowly started acquiring gear, and it just kind of went from there. In Akron, there's a few pockets of electronic music. You have your old school ravers, you have some of the producers. The way I'd like to see it expand is to have more of a unified sense of community, shows, have more collaboration amongst producers and that sort of thing. I'd really like to just have the opportunity to work with some of the most talented artists out there that I'm interested in and get to play my music at different festivals as much as I can. My favorite experience is definitely last December when I got to play a show in Houston the day before I got to see my musical idol, Aphex Twin, and there were so many musicians I knew that were there. It was absolutely crazy. Other than Aphex Twin, Flying Lotus, Miles Davis, really just stuff from across the board. Any weird music I can get my hands on is an influence. I just started going to shows a couple years ago, and after that I just started playing shows, just hanging out more, and what I really love about it is how there really is just such a close-knit sense of community, and I feel like even across different genres, everybody has each other's backs. You can check me out on Facebook under the name Xander1. I'm also on SoundCloud, Twitter, and I'll have a Bandcamp coming soon with some new material.
That was such a cool studio. I never knew how much work went into electronic music.
Yeah, me neither. And that's what I love about this show, is that we get to explore so many unique styles of music.
And right after this commercial break, we'll get to explore even more.
Welcome back to Lowdown. We still have some pretty awesome stuff in store for you guys.
Yeah, we do. More music is coming your way. Let's jump right back in with Jack and the Rundown.
What is going on, Lowdown fans? I'm Jack Stern, and it's time for my quick rundown on some of the latest music. Let's get straight into it. In hip-hop news, some of my favorite projects of the year so far have been dropping. One in particular is the latest from experimental luminary Open Mike Eagle. On his latest album, Brick Body Kids Still Daydream, Mike is confident enough in his words that his raps don't have to blow up straight in your face. The production here is also some of the strongest in Mike's career, with an interesting mix of lo-fi and electro-infused beats. The song topics range from Mike lamenting the demolishing of the project housing he grew up in, to the song Happy Wasteland Day, where he begs for one day in his life free from the threat of violence and destruction against his race. Fans of art rap will not want to miss this project, as it is some of the best work Open Mike Eagle has brought us. The next hip-hop artist I want to talk about is a much less experienced one. In fact, she's more of a meme than a musician. That's right, Danielle Bergoli, the Catch Me Outside girl who became an internet sensation after a trashy appearance on Dr. Phil. Now, Danielle's on to bigger things with a rap career as Bad Baby. That's right, she is actually signed to Atlantic Records. This brings the term meme rapper to a whole other level. Also, I think it begs the question, has the bar for trap rap become so low that a 14-year-old can make it? I mean, think about it. This song really isn't that much different from your average Playboy Carti or Kodak Black track. I mean, it's even kind of catchy. If a 14-year-old wasn't singing it, you probably would be singing along to it. Danielle's ability as a rapper is pretty much the same, and she has the same force of ghostwriters and videographers behind her, no doubt. I think going forward in hip-hop, acts like Bad Baby really raise the question of whether or not the bar needs to be raised for trap music. Next up on my list of recommendations is the latest from indie oddball Ariel Pink. This artist is famous for his storied career creating hypnagogic and lo-fi pop music. This latest album from him, dedicated to Bobby Jameson, really lays on that gruff and fuzzy lo-fi aesthetic. Ariel also brings in some of his aptitude for creating comedic and off-kilter riffs in his music. The song Dream Date Narcissist is a goofy look into Ariel's idea of the perfect date. Then you've got more serious songs like Another Weekend, which is this brutally somber look into the regret of time lost that sounds like it should be played in some kind of seedy dive bar. The best cut to me is the psychedelic and mystical Feels Like Heaven. Here Ariel creates a dreamy and kaleidoscopic groove that bleeds into the great dream pop inspired hook, where Ariel just belts out about how he's just found a new true love. Once again, this is another great release from one of the weirder artists in pop music today. Lastly, I want to give a shout out to another whacked out pop artist. This time it's a more up and coming act straight out of Australia. At first glance, Alex Cameron looks like the world's creepiest Bruce Springsteen impersonator. After a closer examination though, you'll soon figure out that he has some of the best sense of melody and hooks. With the song Running Out of Luck, he has this great saxophone groove and all these great lyrics about he's got blood on his knuckles and a woman beside him in the passenger seat that just really gives you that great like 80s pop rock vibe. Then you've got songs like True Lies, where Alex Cameron essentially is talking about how he's sending money to a girl just to get pictures of her beautiful eyes, and how it might be a Nigerian guy, but he doesn't care because he's all just into this whole fantasy of talking to this girl on the internet. I mean, who even talks about that in a song, much less one with more of a Bruce Springsteen and soaring pop rock vibe where you just feel like you want to put on a wife beater and some tight jeans, which is exactly what he's doing in one of his music videos. If you're looking for an artist who isn't afraid to play around with subject matter and has some really interesting lyrics, then definitely give Alex Cameron a shot.
Jack always has the best music on the rundown.
I totally agree.
And we're going to have more of the best music coming up next right after this break.
And we're back.
You know what, Josh? I'm loving the content of this episode with all the different genres of music.
And we're going to keep that music train rolling with Kurt's look at Akron's surf rock band, The Dreamers.
Or their down-to-earth but yet fun demeanor, but their dedication to authenticity. Giving everything they made almost a rustic whimsy that only added to their sound. I genuinely look forward to checking out the Dreamers' new release that's coming out October 6th.
Such a cool band. It's really interesting that they produce surf rock, being from Akron and all, where there's sadly no beach.
I know, but you can't limit the influences of artists. There's inspiration everywhere.
And you'd be surprised where inspiration can take you. going back to mine and Jack's road trip over the weekend, we have a couple more interviews with artists Amy O and Daniel in Stereo who performed at Midpoint Music Fest. Let's have a look.
Hi, I'm Jack Stern here at Midpoint Music Festival. I've got Daniel in Stereo here. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. All right. So what sort of material are you working on right now?
Kind of trying to figure out a way to write hybrid, indie rock songs with a little bit of hip hop feel to them. We played a new song called Exhale, and it had that it was kind of just more or less kind of embracing the fact that I've grown up listening to jazz and grown up listening to hip hop, and still trying to keep a lot of that pop and indie rock influence that I can't get away from because of I don't know who I am without a guitar. But then now I'm finding my way around it. I'm finding my way around a keyboard, so it's fun to kind of just continually experiment and bridge different worlds that have been so influential to me. So.
Okay, yeah, there's been a lot of hip hop around lately that's sort of been taking on more of an alternative rock vibe.
Yeah.
Are you kind of trying to be a part of that movement?
Well, kind of doing the opposite and be like, yeah, we see you guys taking elements of what we like. Now I'm gonna try to do the same thing. I'm a big fan of Fantagram and bands like that where they have guitars but then they also throw in samples. And so I'm super weird, so I try to write my own samples now, and that's been the fun process of kind of just shifting writing and experimenting and seeing okay, cool, what are new things that I don't know how to do that I can learn that will make me a better songwriter and that will make me better able to bridge those different gaps.
So how did you get your start in music in Cincinnati?
I started playing shows whilst I was towards the end of my high school year. Prior to that, I'd been playing music, just marching band and jazz band and stuff like that. But the interesting thing about that is when you're writing and you're playing jazz band music, you're this is great, but I like what Fall Out Boy's doing. And yes, I just admitted to being a Fall Out Boy fan. But listening to Paramore and bands like that, and you're I want to write what they're writing because that's so cool. And so kind of just wanting to explore that side of creativity, and then kind of finding out about different venues around Cincinnati, and then surely during the spring of my senior, or during the spring of my junior year going into my senior year, started playing shows around town, and then was oh cool, this is something that I definitely want to keep doing even after I graduate high school. And so it's been a fun process of discovering oh sweet, this is different, this is different, this is cool, this is scary, but this is cool, this is fun, let's keep going.
What's up, guys? I'm Josh Gowdy. We're still here at Midpoint Music Fest, and right now I'm with Amy O. Hi, Amy.
Hello.
So you recently just debuted your album Elastic.
Yes, it's our second studio full-length album, and it is with a full band, and we're proud of it.
So you're involved in the zine writing project in Bloomington, which helps adolescents share their voices. Have any of their creative voices or anything helped shape your writing or influence your writing for your songs?
Yeah, I think just working with teenagers encourages me to be creative generally, and it kind of reminds me of the first time types of feelings, just the intensity of being an adolescent. So it keeps me connected to that, I guess.
Thank you, Amy, and that was Amy O.
Thank you.
As always, all of the artists we had on the show today seemed to impress me. I wish we had more.
Don't worry, Celeste. We'll have more next time.
You're right, Josh. I can't wait. Meanwhile, check us out on Facebook or follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ZTV Lowdown.
I'm Josh Gowdy.
And I'm Celeste Homard.
And this has been The Lowdown.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. To find out how you can make Emmy-winning media, visit the UA School of Communication online. ZTV. Make media. Make a difference.